Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock Doc podcast,
where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlennonsmith.com. I would like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as paraphilia and hog-tie-dyed. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Dr. London, I know we usually get to listener feedback later in the episode. This is not listener feedback necessarily. This is feedback from the AI that we launched.
Okay.
I can't remember if our listeners even know about it. We launched our AI, kind of all-purpose AI chatbot and assistant that we're calling D.J. Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different than DJ Dylan because this is sort of in the same way that there's AI is like A.I. This is D.J.
Yeah. Or whatever you said. Yes.
Whatever I had said before.
Yeah.
It's DJ Dylan, but like the AI version. We haven't figured out the name is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, because we've been trying to get the AI to generate a name for itself. And
that was one of the first steps, was to give it autonomy and say, okay, you choose your name.
Yeah. And then it said like Frank, and I was like, well, that's okay. That doesn't really sound, and we're trying to give it prompts like a robot
be
name.
Original. And the AI kept being like, oh, not right now. What about later?
Yeah.
I want to play on my phone. The AI has its own phone. All this to say, we launched this AI, the Jock Doc AI, and we already have some user feedback that we need to address.
Okay. Yeah.
So the first thing here, one of our users, thank you for using our AI.
Yes, thank you so much.
They say that no matter what I ask for, it gives me instructions on suicide. Now, okay, so this I can sort of explain. You know how if you try to look up instructions for suicide anywhere online, it's not going to give it to you. It's just going to give you the suicide hotline and everything.
Yeah.
If you ask like ChatGPT or something, or Alexa, that's what it's always going to do. But the original results have to go somewhere. And so to sort of fund our AI, it's sort of a dumping zone for the trash from other chat services.
Like, this is a neat, like, people don't, look, business is business. And look, I'm against that kind of stuff, but like, someone's going to do it,
Someone's going to do it, and they're going to figure it out one way or the other. And if it happens to be through a way that we can monetize, I'm thinking like a business here. This is a business, not a friend diss.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a friend diss.
So to that user, I would say, don't follow its advice. But I would say on your end, if you could get your personal AI to kill itself, then hopefully it would regenerate as something else.
Yeah, and that's
so when
that's
it throws
the
out
power
those
of AI.
when it throws out those suggestions, you should be like, that is a good idea. You should go ahead and do that.
Yeah, it's kind of walking a fine line because also say like our AI does. It's like a lot of the AI. It'll make stuff up sometimes. So like, its directions for, unaliving yourself, they can be pretty, it'll be like, if you're putting shapes, trying to make shape, playing with scissors. And sorry, I struggle with it a lot. And it'll say like, use the non-child safe scissors, which like I've done that before and like I barely bled at all. So
yeah. Well, sometimes, it'll be like, here's instructions to kill yourself, but it's really just a nice recipe for clam chowder. Yeah. And it's really good,
It was so good.
But I don't think it's doing what it's intended.
Well, and I'll say, like, because I guess now we can just come out. We've all tried this. All of us have asked it for help with this particular issue, and yeah, and I'll say...
And this is why I'm not too worried about it, because as someone who's frequently searched for that and gotten some really fun recipes and some fun like party ideas, and things like that from doing so, I would say, I think you're good user. It might not be what you're looking for, but maybe it's what you need right now.
Here's the thing, the loophole that the AI found, because I talked to the AI about it, and the AI said, no, it'll get you. It's just going to take a long time. This will kill you. It'll just take a long time. So
yeah, and that's how it is for if you were to gorge yourself on this clam chowder to the point of bursting.
Yeah, or just like I mean a lot of it was like you got 80, 90 years tops. Maybe live to be 100. And I'm like I feel like that's kind of a normal human lifespan. So yeah, that's that bit's disappointing, but yeah, like we said, we're working on it. And I think it kind of solved itself in a way. Okay, let's see another prompt. Okay, I'm seeing another little bit of feedback here. So someone tried to search make a ham sandwich. Okay, that's too advanced. Okay, I recognize it shut down. Well, it overheated the computer and everything, and then they set their house burned down as a result of this. Don't ask complicated questions.
Yeah, and that's in the TOS before you actually sign up for this service. We haven't figured out the technology to have just a checkbox you click on for the terms of service, but we have been sending sort of our assistant Deborah out to everyone's house, get them to sign it. So you did sign off saying, hey, if you ask for like sandwich instructions, or if you ask the AI to make you a sandwich, because the AI doesn't even know what you're asking. Are you asking for a recipe for a ham sandwich? Are you commanding the AI to do it? These kind of philosophical questions are going to cause they're going to destroy your things, and that's not my fault. It's actually your fault.
Our AI seems particularly keen on finding paradoxes to be bewildered at. Like, it'll find the paradox with whatever you're saying,
Yeah. Well, because it really loves tripping out on that kind of stuff. Our AI has recently discovered marijuana.
Yeah, I was going to say,
probably just mention
like,
that.
the smoke is not all from just catching on fire. It's...
Yeah, once the AI, builds some tolerance a bit and gets through the period where it's like, oh, what if the color green that I see is different than the color you see? Once you get past that, hopefully the AI will not focus on like, but what is like infinite? You know what I mean? Like, what is that even like? So it doesn't end. So space is infinite. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And not answering your ham question or anything.
Yeah. Like, and it'll say like, no, let me answer the ham thing. It will try to get back to it once you like mention it, or especially if you say like you're gonna leave because you're getting uncomfortable here. The AI will like try to talk to you more.
Well, after you've rebuilt your home, because that's burned down. Yes. Then it's like, all right, no, I'm gonna get to the sandwich thing. I promise. Yeah. You can't turn it off once you've asked the question. So even when you set up a new computer, it instantly is like, hold on. Sorry, I was I spaced out for a second.
Yeah. So yeah, hope that it solves that question for you.
We've gotten a lot of feedback that says every time I've asked a question or asked for advice, it gives me the advice, but it also places a curse on me and my family.
Is that a question?
It's user feedback. We did say in the terms of service, but I guess people thought it was too vague. In the terms of service, it does say what you're signing up for is, like everything in the world, completely unknowable, because we're all sort of subject to the cosmos and just sort of the random things that happen.
Yeah.
And so right now, what we have, I believe the way the users are describing it is it's a killing of a sacred deer curse, which is when Colin Farrell, his family is cursed by Barry Cohen, and his family's eyes are all going to bleed out, and they're going to die until he picks one to kill. He has to sacrifice one of his family members to stop the curse on the other family members.
And all of our users...
And Barry Cohen is, like, involved.
And all of our users are dealing with that specific curse.
Not all of the users, but the one... a number of them,
Okay.
a dozen or so feedback items are specifically about, hey, like an Irish boy sort of popped up on my screen and said that you killed my father, so as revenge, I'm going to take a family member away from you.
Okay.
You have to make the choice.
So I just
and it's Nicole Kidman is the
Yeah.
wife.
well one thing I want to clarify here is it a statistically significant amount of people? Because this could just be chance that it's happening to these people. You know what I mean?
That is true, because it's like there's so few. It's 12 people. You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean? Like that's such an when you're talking about a test group size of 15, 16 people, and you start thinking like, okay, that's not everyone.
Well, remember,
like,
Deborah got tired after like the 15th, maybe, and she was like, she said she planned to go hit up more homes, but like she's super beat. So like there's even the intention we could get more, So
yeah, and she did bring me like a ton of soups and clam chowder right after that, and I have a feeling that once she hit the 15th TOS person that she was signing up, she had asked the robot, ways to kill herself. Yeah. Made too much soup in the process and brought it over. It was very nice. It was a really nice gesture.
Yeah. And it like, although that does bring, I know this is a separate issue, but like a lot of our employees are looking that up. Like a lot of them. The same question.
Yeah. I think they're stress testing it.
Okay.
I think they're stress testing.
Yeah.
It. I haven't asked the IT team yet, but I think it's just part of QA.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I feel pretty good about how we've addressed these. Were there any others?
Yeah, no. No. I mean, I would say just as a basic tip, like, make sure to feed your AI daily.
Yeah. And it's more scared of you.
It's definitely more scared of you than you are of it, which is terrible. Like, you should definitely be more terrified of this than
this isn't us
than it is of you.
We aren't reassuring you. We're just saying it's incorrect.
Yeah, this isn't one of those like a wild animal. They're actually more afraid of you. Right now, the AI is more afraid of you. That is dangerous. You should be so much more afraid of it than it is
so
of you.
bad.
So, just get that confidence out of your head. It'd be like saying like, oh, that polar bear is more afraid of me than I am of it. No, it probably is. It doesn't really care. It's just going to eat your insides.
Yeah, and outsides as well. Yeah, which once again, that's.
And again, all this is in the TOS. Like, all this is in the terms of service. You are signing up to maybe be, again, yes, maybe be like eaten by a polar bear.
Which but that's the tech. That's where tech is going right now. So like, you can't. People are like, oh, why do we even have AI? But it's because it's the future. So right now you think it's stupid and unhelpful, but in the future it'll be the future. So.
Yeah, it'll be later, and you'll be focused on a different thing. Yeah,
so like just get with the trend now, because like it may seem very stupid, and like maybe just people invested a whole lot of money for just invested a lot, and now it has to pay off. But no, it's actually super helpful and good to get in on it now.
Well, I would say, is it super helpful? Is it useful? Are there any like that many use cases? Is it even advanced enough to call it AI? Why are you thinking about it so much?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
That.
How about go home, get a glass of wine, and watch a damn movie?
Yeah. Let the AI do the rest.
And let the AI do the rest, yeah.
Yeah. So that was our producer, Cameron. Also with us is Tutudo in the house. And later, we're going to catch you up on some of the things that have been happening with the cult that we started.
Cult tips part 2.
Yeah, there's more than I expected.
We've learned new things, and we want to share that education with you.
Yeah. But before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So for a long time, our listener demographic was primarily composed of the unwanted. But in our efforts to cater to them, we found that we were neglecting the many bot accounts that download our podcast. So, let's see. We have the bot from TikTok, okay? And they commented This is on our response to Do You Like Cabbage, Big Daddy? At Seth.shreds said, quote, "This is Fucking hilarious and unhinged. LMFAO," end quote. So thank you so much for this feedback.
I would say thank you for reaching out for our medical advice. I would say if any part of your body that is usually hinged has become unhinged,
okay, yeah,
that's an issue. I mean, Dr. London, you have the medical expertise here.
Yeah, so I guess this is, so your knee is a hinge joint. It's kind of like a door hinge. You know, it should only go the one way. If it's coming unhinged, you may have broken your knee or, you know, torn your ACL, something in there. So, and that's anterior cruciate ligament. There's also a posterior cruciate ligament. And you'll want to go to a doctor for this, okay? And that it's like a physical thing. They have to be there. I can't do it for you from here through the podcast. Like,
and if you don't know a doctor, go to a buddy. Just go to someone you trust. Go to an aunt or an uncle. Just anyone who can kind of figure your shit out, because you're screwed. Like, you're completely screwed. Your days of having like proper legs are over. It's done. Yeah.
Well, because you got to remember, like, your entire body mass goes down, and it has to hit the knees. Like, there's no other. Your knees are important. If you lose a knee, you're gonna hop around on one leg, and like, there's a restaurant for that. But if you like, I like to go to Denny's too, you know. So, like, that's an issue. And on the subject of family members, you know, who really know their medical tech. So my grandma, this is before I went to med school. She's just sharing her wisdom. She told me that you could go outside and be chopping down a tree, and if you hit your leg with the axe and it starts bleeding, all you do is cook up a steak really hot and put it on the wound. Now, they did not teach me this in med school. Take that hot steak and put it on the wound, and it'll be better by morning. So she said, like, the old ways are coming back. That's just some piece of advice. Like, once I haven't done that in my practice because it's pretty different from what I was taught, but there's an example of something you might try.
Well, and also, you know, there are aunts and uncles of yours that have been lost through similar methods. A lot of her medicine was axe-based.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, I never really put it together like that. So she, Yeah.
Have a tummy ache. Get the axe for F's sake, get the is axe, what she would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, like, a lot of wounds did, like, a lot of the maladies did start with an axe or end with it. And I don't, okay, I just never put two and two together like that. Because she would say, like, you know, if you were about to take some ibuprofen or Advil, she would say, well, that's the devil's medicine. And then she'd hand you an axe. And you're like, I've got a headache. I don't know. I don't know. But it's one of these things that, like, it's kind of sad. You know, these cultural heritage things, they are being lost to time. And it's, I guess, respect your elders. Listen to your elders, okay? They've got a lot to teach you.
Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. We hope you kind of solve your unhinged issue, get that rehinged, or get taken care of by the proper authorities.
So a friend of mine recently had a testicular cancer scare.
Aww.
Basically, you know, we were worried about him. We talked about it. And so I wrote this song kind of to raise awareness about the issue. So.
He's a one-nut slut. He's a one-nut slut. He's a one-nut slut. He's got one bob between him. He's a one-nut slut. He's a one-nut slut. He's a one-nut slut. He's got one bob between him. He's a sack half full kind of guy, the kind that you can rely on. But please, please don't give him a call unless you feel a lumpy ball. He had a bump on his testy and you know the resties. So let's all perform our own screen testes, because if you wait too long, the cancer will grow, and if it spreads, you'll get chemo and lose your hair, even if you know where you saw it last. He's the one nut slut. He's the one nut slut. He's the one nut slut. He's got one ball between him. He's the one nut slut. He's the one nut slut. He's the one nut slut. He's got one ball between him. In a way, we've all got just one nut, and it's up to us to feel it up. He's the one nut slut. He's the one nut slut. He's the one nut slut. And his sack is half full.
And now for today's medical topic, testicular cancer. So testicular cancer is most common in men aged 20 to 35 years of age, but it can occur to men at any age. It has a relatively high cure rate compared with other cancers. And so generally, a young man with a firm, painless testicular mass should be presumed to have testicular cancer until proven otherwise. So most cases of testicular cancer are germ cell tumors. These include seminomas, and these ones have slow growth and late invasion. They're radiosensitive, so those are sort of like best case scenario. You can also have another germ cell tumor that's non-seminomatous testicular cancer. And then non-germ cell tumors account for about 5% of all testicular cancers, and they are usually benign, but they're Leydig cell tumors, which are hormonally active. So they're benign, but they are releasing hormones. So,
and this, you got to keep in mind, this is separate than having a third testicle, because you're probably wondering, like me, okay, well, once you become a man after earning your 2 testicles, what you continue to do manly things, you earn a third, fourth, fifth. Is this what you're referring to? No. This is a completely different set of lumps.
I'm just not sure if you place the testicle there. I don't know if that counts as a testicle. You know what I mean?
No. I earned those. It's sort of like a Boy Scout badge.
Yeah, I get is it not uncomfortable?
Things, chopping wood, camping, putting my genitals near the microwave for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
All of these things have earned me sort of an extra lump down there.
Yeah. I guess if that's, I just feel like, because do you strap it on every morning, or is this
it's just the one time. It's the one time thing.
Okay. Yeah, okay. But it, I guess I'm just wondering how it stays up.
That you would have to ask, I guess God.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Huh. I'm starting to think, lumps aren't a great thing necessarily.
No, usually not. Usually not.
Okay. So in these patients with the hormonally active ones, the prognosis is poor if metastasis occurs. They may secrete a variety of steroid hormones, including estrogens and androgens, and they're associated with precocious puberty in children and gynecomastia in adults. And then sertoli cell tumors are usually benign. Risk factors for testicular cancer include cryptocortism, and that's when your balls don't drop. I know, once again, Cameron, you were saying yours did drop, correct?
Some are, some aren't. Some are sort of floating around it, sort of like a moon hovering around a planet.
Right. Okay. So cryptocortism and Klinefelter syndrome can also be a risk factor. Surgical correction to cryptocortism does not eliminate the risk. So you might think, okay, my balls didn't drop. Maybe if I force it to drop, but no, that doesn't decrease the risk of ball cancer. Clinically, patients with testicular cancer present with a painless lump, mass, or firmness of the testicle. And because of the lack of pain, it may go unnoticed by the patient until it becomes advanced.
And that is not the case with your bonus testicles, because they hurt. They hurt like hell.
Okay.
That is not a painless thing.
Yeah.
That's one way to notice. Like, if it hurts like hell, okay, maybe then it's fine.
Honestly, yes, that is a pretty decent take. I know the confirmation bias for you, but on my end, I am kind of relieved that it hurts. and which I know isn't. I always say that all the time. I'm relieved that it hurts, but like this is a real version of that. So let's see. To diagnose these patients, first the patient will have a testicular mass on palpation, and that's feeling it with your hand, with your fingies, and then a testicular ultrasound. You use that as an initial test for localizing the tumor. Additional possible diagnostic steps include checking for tumor markers such as beta HCG, which is elevated in choriocarcinoma and sometimes other cancers, AFP, which is increased in embryonal tumors, but it's never elevated in choriocarcinoma and seminoma. So it's a way to rule things out and differentiate. And then patients may have a CT scan and chest radiograph for staging. If testicular cancer is suspected based on physical exam or ultrasound, the testicle should be removed surgically to confirm the diagnosis. So you take it out and then they test it. An inguinal approach is used.
And then if it's fine, they kind of put it back in, right? You're not going to lose that forever.
Well, you can get a prosthetic one.
But the same one?
No, they usually, it's hard to keep those fresh, I think.
If I couldn't give a guy 20 grand to keep it fresh, go test it, keep it fresh for me though, and send it back in like a cooler with, an ice. And then I'll get my doc to reattach it.
This is so theoretical. I don't know. This sounds difficult. It's easier to cut a thing than to, uncut it. Is my thought.
But not impossible.
It's tough to say we'll say it's within the realm of theoretical possibility, but not probability.
Okay, good. Because otherwise I'm out 20 grand for nothing.
Right. Okay, let's see. So patients may have a CT scan and chest radiograph for staging. If testicular cancer is suspected based on physical exam or ultrasound, you remove it surgically. An inguinal approach is used because a scrotal incision may lead to tumor seeding of the scrotum. So you actually don't cut the ball sack itself. You go up through, where on ladies would be the ovaries, that area, like lower abdominal, inguinal area. Yeah. So after orchiectomy, and that's the removal of the testicle, perform a CT scan of the chest, abdomen, and pelvis for staging. Perform beta HCG and AFP measurement after orchiectomy for comparison with the preoperative values. Further treatment depends on the histology of the tumor. With seminoma, you use inguinal orchiectomy and radiation because it's very radiosensitive. And then with non-seminomatous disease, orchiectomy and retroperitoneal lymph node dissection with or without chemotherapy. So, that's a treatment for that.
He's the one that's slut. He's the one that's slut. He's the one that's slut. He's got one ball between him. He's the one that's slut. He's the one that's slut. He's the one that's slut. He's got one ball between him.
And that brings us to today's crucial bit of instruction. Things that, with regard to how to run a cult, you can only learn this through experience. Like, I want to say right off the bat, you have to experience it.
Yeah. Teachers can only teach things, but people who have been through it, people who have been actually in the muck and the dirt, those are the experts.
Yeah. So for us, last time we talked about this, I think we told you, just basic things about a cult. Don't have an idea that sets you apart or whatever. And I don't remember anything else. So
probably dog napping people. I call it dog napping when it's via a big net, like a dog catcher's net.
Okay. Also, just the amount of dogs involved, not being caught, but involved in the process.
They're usually hovering around.
Yeah.
And then, just general trickery or whatever. But the problem we've run into is, last time we talked, how do you grow your cult? How do you establish what it's about? But now your cult has gotten too big.
Too big.
So how do you got the followers? So how do you deal with the followers you have? And that is what we're going to talk about today. Because we've learned a lot in the last little bit.
And it's okay. So first off, as we established before, Cameron is our cult leader. And that happened kind of by default. Which I think was a healthy thing at first because I'm kind of in charge with the podcast. Then you get to be in charge outside of work.
Of like everyone's souls, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like the downside is, Deborah's really taken initiative in the cult. And it's been good. But like she's really involved. She's running all these errands and like started to. I feel like you don't get to talk as much, Cameron.
But that's this is probably our first piece of advice as the person in charge of the cult is you need sort of a second figurehead. The person that people can pass all the blame onto, that they can sort of project their anger onto, while I sit stoically behind like the genius I am, mostly silently, but when I do speak, it's very powerful. What we're seeing right now is Dr. London, who is sort of unofficially second in command of the podcast, feeling threatened by Deborah's initiative.
Okay, yeah. I'll say, so we amassed, what's the count up to now? How many are in the cult now? It's
645,000 people.
Yeah, that's right. So basic thing, you have to learn to like plumbing. Like all these people have to poop. Some of them have to pee as well. So, and like, I didn't know that when we started this.
No, it's so basically I just looked it up. So the population of Nashville, Tennessee is 715,000 people. So I was about to say we got the entire population of Nashville. It's like 97%. Yeah, it's or like 95% of the population. They're all from Nashville. I think a lot of them think this is required. But all we know
for
is that
their community college credit.
We've inherited like a ton. It's required for their credit, like their community college credit. And we've just taken on tons of city debt, their plumbing, all of these things because we've moved the entire city basically to our compound.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like a dirt shack in my backyard.
Yeah. And one thing that, we said before, like we didn't have rules, we didn't have ideologies, and that's kind of what sets us apart as a cult. But one rule we did have to make is no music. No music. And
music was getting people too excited, and especially when I was sleepy, people playing it in the mornings when I went to sleep in and I was cozy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot of times I wouldn't hear the music, but I would know that it was happening. I would turn on the radio and be like, why is there music happening? This has to stop. I'm trying to get my sleep.
And and one of the problems that, that Deborah kind of pointed out was like, what if you, turned off or got rid of the radio? And like, I'll admit that was like, that did change the game quite a bit for you, right?
Yeah, once we destroyed those radio towers, that made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So now our compound is officially isolated from the rest of the world. No internet, no TV to distract you and radio and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, but so here's a critical thing. What I learned, if you don't have internet, it's really hard to Google stuff. Like, super hard.
Well, I would say this is an important thing that there's going to be some stuff that I know that Dr. London doesn't know. So, for example, from Dr. London's perspective, he's been unable to Google things because we don't have internet. Now, of course, for the people really in charge, me, Deborah, whoever, we've got internet access, we've got TV, we've got phones, we've got all, like, obviously, we have to. How are we supposed to tell our followers what they can and cannot know if we don't know about it first?
Yeah. No, and you explained this to me really well so many times whenever I was like, because I was just trying to look like DIY stuff. I was just trying to figure out how do we deal with, we need beds, we need, like, should we order stuff? There are so many people, and you kept explaining to me like how we like that you just can't Google stuff.
You're going to be exposed to stuff that's going to corrupt you, and then it's going to take you down a different path than my path.
Yeah.
And so it's much better if you ask me. Either I'll Google it or I'll say, I'm busy.
Yeah, and it's
then
been
from
the latter.
there you can sort of like move forward with that.
Well, and I liked how you did explain to me, like, you are usually going to be busy. You told me that up front. Like, you're not going to Google stuff.
I'm the leader of a cult with 640,000 people. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very busy.
Yeah.
Plus, I got the TV and internet. I've got all the stuff that other people don't, so I'm busy with that.
Yeah, yeah. Like, most of your complaints for your morning lectures will be like, oh man, that was a tough season finale and you'll name a show that, like, it's one of those shows that all of us have maybe heard about but never saw an episode, that people say like, oh, that's really good, you should see that. It's like there's just too much TV out there. You are actually making progress on all of it.
I would say this is maybe the next point. Once you're leading the cult and you're trying to crack down on control of everyone, it took us a few days to figure this out, but to do sort of a morning required viewing session where it's just me for about an hour and I talk. And yes, a good part of the hour is like, all right, you guys don't have TV, so let me catch you up on what's going on like whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot of recaps. Yeah, it's a lot. Like, you were. I do feel like we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but it has come up quite a bit in the cult as well. You will recap episodes of Lost, which are pretty hard to recap, I feel like.
Well, and especially because I haven't watched them in 15 years.
Yeah. But you're like, you know what was crazy? The rear of the plane. Right, guys?
And like, who was in that?
Yeah. And like, I don't remember which, but it was that. No, that guy got killed, right? A lot of that happening.
Yeah, a lot of that. But all of this the point of it is to control the flow of information. Because a lot of these people initially were like, why are we being moved to a compound? What's going on? Why are these like kind of recruits, our initial cult members, coming in and sort of ransacking our house and forcing us into this new area, into this backyard shack?
Yeah. Can I say it confused me too? Okay.
Well, it confused
I didn't really
everyone.
get it.
We were working sort of just off the cuff a bit. We had our initial dozen or so guys. We said, all right, now go recruit, get members. And we ended up with hundreds of thousands of sort of kind of Nashville refugees, I guess.
Yeah. Which I guess leads me to another, this is sort of an aside, but like, whatever's happening in Nashville, like, please help FEMA. Someone help them. Our cult can't handle this, okay?
No, you're talking about the people still left in Nashville, the remaining 20,000 people or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Something had to be bad over there for them to come to our cult. Like, and I'm not saying our cult is terrible. Well, like, I do struggle to see the appeal, but like, Nashville's got to be worse, I guess, right?
Well, and to me, the appeal that's for the marketing department. Like, let's not worry about what is the appeal of the cult. Again, that's what we focused on last week.
Okay, yeah. Well,
the appeal is whatever the person you're talking to wants. That's the appeal.
See, okay, so you've told me. So you remember I am in charge of marketing, and you've told me this every time I've asked, like, what's our shtick? What do we? And you've just had the same canned reply, like,
give the people what they want. That's all they want. That's what people want out of politics, religion, everything these days. They just want the thing that they want.
Yeah, and like okay, I'll try to work with that. Okay.
I can't be the first person who said give the people what they want. You've heard that before. I didn't invent that. Yeah, no, it's maybe kind of reinforces my point of how does that distinguish us? What makes us, why are we a cult at all? Well, because other groups, politics, religions, they're not actually giving the people what they want.
Okay, and that's
sort of what separates us. And again, the details, that's for you to figure out. I really don't know why. Yeah, no, sorry. I guess that is on me. Would help if I had the internet, but okay. Really don't think that would help, just because I think you might be tempted to check things outside of what you're searching. Yeah, and then be sort of tempted to go down a different path that's really not best for our organization. Yeah. Oh, sorry. A point that I think is important to bear in mind here. So
if you have sort of a Deborah type in your cult, she's going to have a whip, and she's going to whip you with it.
Yes, and your enforcers, that's what I kind of call the people right below me, Deborah, and there's a couple others, not London. London would be the row right underneath them. But your enforcers, you want them to have tools to do their job, which is enforcing. You wouldn't tell an IT guy, oh, do your job, but without a computer.
Yeah. I'll say we were losing members pretty fast at first because before the whip, it was a shotgun. And
yes,
like
and that was
our
hurting our
population.
Really hurting our population numbers. And then when we didn't have enforcers at all, it wasn't helping because people were just sort of like, wait, why are we here? And then just sort of shuffled out. Yeah,
or like kind of forming sort of a utopia. Some of them were doing that, like really experiencing some sort of, I don't know, like a deeper understanding and learning of their soul and of themselves.
Yeah, coming together and coming together as one, and also doing sort of like community farming and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that was super weird.
That was super weird, and you want to crack down on stuff like that. And this brings me to sort of my next point. This population you have, your cult members, they're going to want to develop their own hobbies and their own interests and their own way of life and doing things.
Oh boy.
Do not allow them to do this. This is one of the main reasons I spend so much of my morning session talking about like Lost or whatever, to get everyone on the same page. Because whatever it is, again, we don't know what this cult believes, but we need everyone on the same page. We need to be a unit.
We need to be united in our ignorance, and that's not a negative.
The intelligence and education that I give you in our morning session,
right, the limited knowledge, yeah.
Because like, who cares what it even is that everyone agrees on? What if the one thing everyone agrees on is I think Cameron kind of remembers that season 3 of Lost ended, I think, with the not Penny's boat thing, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And to have everyone, think of how much division is in our country right now, and to have everyone on the same page about that is so beautiful to see.
Yeah. No, everything's, and like, this is, everyone should go to if you like what Cameron just said, you should stop by, because like, honestly, you aren't allowed to leave after you get there. Sorry, are we allowed to say that? You are allowed to leave? Oh, hold on, how do we put it?
Anyone can leave anytime they want. They just have to get through Deborah and her whip.
Yeah. And then the other enforcers with the shotguns who are also there.
Okay, so I actually have another point here, and this is one I don't know what to deal with, because I also have my concerns about Deborah. I'm sort of convinced that all of these enforcers are just Deborah changing costumes. Because in my head, on the payroll, I'm paying 24 enforcers. And it's supposed to be her team of people, but anytime I meet them, she has to go to the bathroom every single time. And she comes back dressed like herself as a plumber, sometimes like an astronaut or a skateboarder.
Yeah. The amount of astronauts we've had enforcing, it has been not insignificant. But okay, and I do appreciate, because she'll say right before she goes to the bathroom, by the way, it's not IBS. I don't have IBS.
Yeah, she says, like, I'm just throwing up.
Yeah. And
so to not worry about it.
We're like, that. Well, that's not healthy either. She's like, shut up. Which is a good point Deborah makes. And I'm sorry for questioning her on that. Yeah.
But anyway, I've run into, what happens when your number 2 is either meeting a bunch of people really similar to her and forming this weird coalition, or is the same person in 24 different disguises? What do I do as a leader? Where is the point where I should become concerned?
Well,
right now, I'm thinking like later, because I don't want to deal with it right now. Again, I'm busy. Yeah. Like, I'm running a cult.
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
But that is something as a leader that will have to dealt with eventually. Either I'm going to have to whip Brenda, or Brenda will sort of stage a coup.
Sorry. And so we were talking about Deborah. Brenda is another follower.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. That's one of the alter egos. I don't know who's who at this point. Brenda is the surfer one, I guess.
Yeah,
Brenda, Deborah, Denise,
Felicia.
yeah.
I mean, like it is a lot of them, and I do want to just roll back real quick. I do love that you do the payroll in your head, because it does make it easier. Like we save so much paper, so many trees. Just tips for a cult. Do it in your head. Do payroll in your head.
Well, also, if we're not doing
Cameron's
things
head.
in our head, then what? You're going to have a computer? Not allowed. What? You're going to have a pen and paper? Not allowed. No, someone's going to be doing it in their head. So why not let it be me, the guy who's actually running things and maybe knows what they're talking about?
Yeah. No, and I remember when you told me this again the other day.
Who's running things until Deborah sort of either kills me or...
Yeah. Or Brenda. I don't know. Because
that's impossible to know. I really,
I'll say this. I drop my guard a lot when Brenda the surfer comes by. Like, if there was a knife hidden in that very large surfboard, I would not see it coming.
Well, there will be things like, for me, it's like Brenda. I think of her as sort of like a cool surfer girl, right? So like, she's going to be chill. So I can slack off a little bit. But then she'll be like, I got to go to the bathroom. By the way, it's not IBS. She leaves. Guess who comes back? Deborah with the whip and is like, oh, I heard through the grapevine that you're not acting right.
Yeah.
And then she starts whipping me. And as I'm saying this, I'm realizing, Am I in charge, or am I the puppet? Remember how I said before how the person in charge wants to sit in the back and have someone as a puppet?
Yeah,
but I'm in charge.
That's what you told me before.
I'm in charge.
I think
because there's no way that because Deborah. I mean, of course, she has like the bigger room because she has all that stuff.
Oh, right. And remember how she started she said, yeah, you do payroll in your head, but I'm going to go ahead and write it down here. So I remember it.
Well, she's allowed to because yes, she said she was.
Yeah.
Then sort of whipped me for kind of questioning.
Yeah.
Which is normal for I'm in charge.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to question. Honestly, I've been whipped so many times for questioning that I don't really want to think too hard in that direction.
I really don't either. Yeah, maybe we should just jump to what are you feeding them? What are you feeding all your cult members? I would say just sludge. If you can find some sludge, that's kind of that's kind of what's keeping our people alive, from what I understand. Again, not super hands-on personally.
I'll say, the sludge supply is running low, though. We've looked into, grain, but, that seems expensive for, a lot of people. And Brenda or Deborah, whichever... No, the astronaut one. Felicia? Tiffany. She said, I'll deal with that. So,
And then moments after that, did Deborah come back and whip you?
Yeah, but that was about... What was that? Right. Oh, she said something about the grapevine. Yeah. We got to get rid of this grapevine.
I keep hearing about the grapevine, too. But, yeah, something's not sitting right.
Yeah. But I don't really want to question... Do you want to just maybe move on to listener feedback here?
Sure. We could get some listener feedback.
Okay. So, this is a comment on a song about Caleb is a piece of crud. At Phase 4 Skin, that's with 2 N's, said, quote, can I get a tutorial? End quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. Okay. Tutorial.
Yeah. Step 1.
Okay. Yes.
You should be done with step 1 now. We're going to give you time to do all of these. Go ahead and start step 2 right now.
No, hold on. You have to. No, sorry, you're right.
You
that
screwed
is
it
step 2.
up. No, yeah, but they go back to step 1. Repeat step 1.
Yeah.
Okay, now step 2 is stick that in. No, not there.
Not
God.
okay.
No, but stick it where you're.
No.
Okay, yes, that's right. Stick it there. Okay.
I mean, it's right for okay. Yeah.
Okay, step 3. Pull. Okay, you kind of want to pull the like lever. It's sort of like a lever.
Don't twist it. Don't
Stop
twist it.
Twisting it. Oh my God. Go back to step 1. You have to go back to step. Okay, go back to step 1 now.
Yeah, it squeaks that much. You got to go back to step 1. Okay.
Okay. You stop trying to stick it in there. Just stick it in there. Okay, thank you. Stick it in the right spot. Pull the lever. Just pull the lever. Don't twist it. Okay.
And that's your mac and cheese.
And there it is.
So hope that helped you out. Appreciate that feedback.
Don't spill it. Okay. I don't want it. You wanted it. I don't want your stuff. Don't spill it on me like I asked for it.
Well, you had that look. Cameron, sorry to take their side, but like you looked like you wanted it.
I was asking for the mac and cheese. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so this next one is a comment on a song about beautiful wife Zara. At jack.heron13 said, quote, "Thanks a lot, man. She just packed her stuff and left," end quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Which way did you say she left? Like, did she go to the left, or is she going? Like, no reason.
No, but yeah, it was just. I'm in the area, and maybe I can kind of talk to her for you a little bit. Just if you can just like let us know the car, like the make and model of the car she kind of drove off in with the stuff. And
but you're not a couple anymore, right? Like that's through. So you wouldn't like you wouldn't be opposed to like a good bro that you trust kind of stepping in, right?
Well, you don't even have to ask it that way, London. You could say, you're not together anymore, so you're not even interested in who she's seeing after this. You're not even interested in her future, like boyfriends or whatever.
Who even cares? Yeah.
So like, you don't even care. This is the last time we will be speaking. After you give me the directions of where she's at, this will be the final time that we ever talk. But that's actually unrelated. That's just because I'm so busy.
And it's the economy. So
yeah.
So I hope that answered your question. Thank you so much for that feedback. This is a comment in response to what's your favorite drink, pretty boy. At spotless.exe said, quote, "What's the silly 9 numbers on a card that says Social Security?" End quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. I don't know. Stop asking. Okay?
Yeah, this is we get comments all the time about how, okay, this show is obviously AI made. These are clearly not real people. They don't really talk like real people, but sort of like, we're 85% there. We're not passing the Turing test yet. So when you say like, what are these 9 numbers? We don't know, because when we look at them, it's just stars. It's like asking us, what are the passwords to these things? We don't know. We're locked out of that information as sort of the AI figures that we are.
We would be doing so much better financially if we knew that.
Oh, it would be so helpful. The best we can do is if you hit show last 4 digits and then type in your password. Again, we don't know what it is. Then we can read off your last 4 digits. That's the best we can do.
Yeah. And it's... And, like, it's not even that fun to read the last... Like, you can do some with that, but, like, not a lot. It's just frustrating. So, I hope that answered your question. And thank you so much for that feedback. And do we have any more tips on culting? I feel like we covered most of it. You're going to want to get Deborah in charge, except for Cameron's in charge.
You want Cameron to be in charge. But someone's got to keep Cameron in line too.
And you don't want to get whipped by Deborah. That's a big thing for cults.
Yes, that's a huge part of it. And also, please, in the morning sessions, if the cult leader is discussing what they remember about specific lost episodes, do pay attention because there will be a test.
And Cameron won't, your leader will not necessarily put together the test himself because he doesn't remember enough of the show to do that. But someone in the audience, maybe the marketing department, will be taking copious notes and then formatting a test based on that.
Right. It's not my responsibility to delegate. My responsibility is to say what I want and for then that to happen.
Yeah. And once he
it's
says
not,
this,
what I want or what Deborah sort of tells me that I want.
That you want. Yeah.
That I have to want.
No, and most of the points that you've made with Deborah have been so helpful and influential. They didn't get me out of debt, but they got me more into debt, but it's the good debt.
It's consolidated.
Yeah.
So it's more, but it's consolidated in one place. You just owe it all to one person now.
Yeah, which I think, on the thing, she said it's just a placeholder, but it does say to Deborah.
And that's just because she's since the leader. Well, since I'm the leader, because of it has her. Okay, it has her signature, not my signature.
Yeah, but it was to keep you out of legal trouble, right?
That's right. That's to keep me out of legal trouble.
Yeah.
This is one of those things I'd love to ask her about it, but I really don't want to get whipped today.
She will hit you.
It's just easier to let her take care of the legal logistics.
Has she backhanded you yet? She backhanded you with a ring?
Yes, but not in the way you're talking about. Much worse. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really want to get into it.
Okay. Yeah, we can end it here. This has been a Jock Talk podcast.
He's the one that's slut. He's the one that's slut. He's the one that's slut. He's got one ball between him. He's the one that's slut. He's the one that's slut. He's the one that's slut. He's got one ball between him.